Greetings. After I've introduced my students to the Greek gift sacrifice, I like to show them the following little game, and it is a little game, it's a miniature. So without further ado, to the game. So this is a game played in 1920 between the famous American champion Frank Marshall and someone whose last name was Stodie. I don't know his first name. Marshall had white. As usual, when I make my chess videos, I'm using the chess.com analysis board. The game began as a Sicilian defense. And then one reason I like to show this game is that I like my students to see that sometimes their opponents are going to play funny looking opening moves. They're not always going to play all the normal standard openings they're used to seeing. Sometimes they're going to see funny looking opening moves. And at the time, e6 was in vogue, and that's what Stodie played. And then they treated pawns. d4 grabs hold of the center and kicks the bishop away. So now white has those lovely side-by-side central pawns. Knight comes out to f3, d5, and white pushes to e5. Black's knight comes out, white plays c3, and at this point, this looks a whole lot like an advanced French defense, doesn't it? And as in the advanced French, this knight can't hop out where it would like to go because it'll be taken by that pawn. So it goes to e7. But from f6, it would defend h7. From e7, it won't defend h7. That's important. Marshall moved his bishop to d3, taking the beautiful, nice, lovely b1, h7 diagonal. And now, of course, what we always tell our students in chess is to do three things in the opening. Try to control the center and try to keep controlling the center for most of the game. Develop your pieces, so get them out where they're useful. You don't want them to just sit back doing nothing. And get castled early. And then, of course, I tell them, well, the rule isn't actually get castled early. It's more like keep your king safe. So put your king where it'll be safe. And get your rooks connected, or at least where they'll be useful. And castling usually achieves those goals. Getting the king off to the side behind a wall of pawns, where it'll be safe, and connecting the rooks. So it's usually a good idea, but there are occasions when it's a bad thing to do. And this is one of those positions where it's a bad idea for black. It's fine for white. It's a bad idea for black. Black goes ahead and castles, and now he gets killed by the Greek gift sacrifice, which starts with bishop takes h7 check. And you can see it'll be check. The king will take. The knight will hop out, check. Protected by this bishop. And since that's not a bishop, when the knight hops here, there'll be no bishop takes knight. No. So it'll be bishop takes, king takes, knight check, and the king goes somewhere, and the queen's coming out here, or possibly here, depending on where he goes. If he comes out, then yeah, okay, we'll play h4 at some point and make the h-pawn an attacker. They've seen this stuff before. I've shown them a game or two already, so they've seen this. So you can see we're all set for the Greek gift sacrifice, and that's what Marshall plays. King takes bishop, knight hops out, check. And we already know that if the king goes straight back, he gets mated very fast. Zap, zap. That gets him mated. We already know that if he comes here to h6, then he's setting up a double check by the knight and this bishop. So to be double check, the knight's checking, And so is the bishop. And that'll lose the queen. Or just discovered check by the bishop. That'll still lose black as queen. So pick one of them. So we know that's not a very good square. That's not a very good square for that king. That leaves those two squares. If he chooses this one, well, then he'll come out, and either the queen will come out or this pawn will be pushed, and that king is going to have a hard time escaping mate. That king's going to have a hard time escaping mate. And that leaves the move Stodie played, which was king to g8. And now the queen moves out and threatens checkmate on h7, supported by the knight. And there's only one move that helps. People sometimes seem to be tempted to play this move, thinking that they'll be able to escape. But no, the knight controls that square. They can't come out. No, that doesn't help them escape. Sometimes they seem to be tempted to play this move, but that doesn't help either. The knight move doesn't help either. And by the time I show them this game, they've already seen that the only move available here is rook over to e8. And then they've already seen the continuation, queen to h7 check, king to f8. And then from here, queen to h8 check, knight blocks is the only move, knight check, king moves there, it's the only move, bishop comes out, check. And if you move the king, you lose the queen. If you block with the pawn, then that's checkmate. Block with the knight and also attack the queen, well then this wins. You've taken a couple of pawns, you're going to get the knight back, and you'll probably win an exchange. And you're just killing black. So white's winning. They've already seen that. What they haven't seen is the Greek gift sacrifice when that pawn's missing. This looks like an advanced French, but it's even better because now the bishop can hop out to a3. Bishop would just slide on out to a3 and pin that knight. So now it won't be able to block on that square when the queen moves in. So now the threat is checkmate, and there's no way out. There's no way out. It's mate in 1. Well, okay, technically it's mate in 4 because black can block here. And then he can block here. And then he can block here. All right, fine. So that eats up 3 moves. And now what? Nothing black does here can help. Even if he slides the rook over, that doesn't help. Still mate. Still mate. So once Marshall moved his bishop to a3, the game was over. Stodie resigned. But this is a Greek gift sacrifice just like the one you see against an advanced French, but even better because the bishop is able to seize this diagonal and pin the knight. So it's even better. It forces mate instead of forcing a win of a couple of pawns and probably an exchange. You know, instead of just winning, it forces mate. So this is a neat little game. I like to show this to my students. And that's it for this video. As always, try to win, but more than that, try to play well.